Well, so the energy on the planet is intense. I was just talking to Jess earlier today, who's helping with the call today, and we were talking about how we're really feeling the energy, or at least I was and she was yesterday. And my sister out in Colorado was saying she was just sort of pinned to her bed the day before. So the solar eclipse is tomorrow, early morning, and you can see it if you're in Chile or different parts of South America, I think, have an opportunity to see it. But regardless of that, we're all feeling its energy. And Raphael has been coming in and talking a lot, and this is information that's been coming in pretty universal right now in the spirit community, that there's this enormous energy happening in the next couple weeks as we come into the winter solstice on December 21st. And I got a huge download about that last night. So I want to talk to you guys all about that. But if you're new to this process, my name is Kelly, and I've been channeling for 32 years, a long time. And Raphael came to me as a young college student. Somebody had asked in one of the questions, well, why did Raphael pick you? Nothing special about me at all, that's for sure. I think it was that I was just open to it. When the energy came in, it was during the harmonic convergence, and it was a very intense time on the planet, just as we're experiencing now, not quite this crazy, but and a lot of different energies were coming in, and people were really beginning to channel more and more. Prior to that, you didn't really hear much about people channeling, and I certainly wasn't out telling my friends or even some family members that I channeled. It was just too strange. But it has shifted, which is such a beautiful indication about how much the collective consciousness has evolved. I have a 22-year-old daughter who was just saying, yeah, even 6 or 7 years ago, I couldn't tell my friends that my mom channeled because it would just be weird. How would I explain that? And although it may still be a little bit strange for some people, more and more people are open to, like, oh yeah, great, who does she channel? So we are really making strides in the consciousness. So don't feel in despair that all is lost, or that we're traveling down a dark and terrible path, because we're not. We are really evolving. It may not always seem that way, as Raphael says, from the perspective of, especially if you're tuning into mainstream media and things like that. But if you're really dropping into your heart and connecting, you'll recognize that we're evolving quite quickly and beautifully. So I'm going to bring Raphael in today. And the way that I do that is I just get quiet and I make some toning sounds. I don't have the best voice in the world, so excuse the sounds. But as the sounds come through me, that's me sort of stepping aside a bit as Kelly and Raphael's energy starting to connect with mine and to merge with me. And then my hands start to kind of move around a bit. And then Raphael will come in and say, hello, like that. That's how Raphael greets all of us. And normally in a large audience, when we don't have COVID, everybody says hello back. We get the energy going, but Jess will do that today for all of us. And then Raphael will come in with a message. I have a strong feeling we'll do some meditation toward the end of the call, and we're going to want to answer some questions that came in. I picked out a few of those questions, and we will address them. So with that, I think I'll just get started, and we'll see what comes in. All right. I guess, Jess, you've got the chat box there. If anything really important shows up that needs to be addressed, she'll monitor that. And I guess we're recording. All right, here we go. So if everybody on the call could just take a nice deep breath all the way in through your nose and just let go. And another one all the way in. And just let it all go. And one more if you'd like, all the way in. And just let that go. Just drop down and start to feel Mother Earth energy. I think we have some interference on the call. Just make sure that you are muted. Um, Anybody on the call, if your mute button's not on, just be sure it is. Okay. And then let's just tune into Mother Earth. And at the same time, if you guys want to just put your hand on your heart, and as you're doing that, just start to tune into, excuse me, to a flame that is there in the heart, because we're going to tap into the goddess Sekhmet today. And Sekhmet came in last night and asked that people start to feel the flame that's in the heart center, so that you're tuning into that. And also, while you're sitting, I'm going to bring Raphael in a minute, but before that, just start to really bring love into your heart, and start to really, really love yourself. That's so important, more than ever right now, that everybody, you be just gentle with yourself, love yourself, and know that you're worthy and divine just as you are. Okay? All right, here we go. Oh, 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 hello.
Hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
Oh, oh, it is that we are very delighted, as always, to be here and to speak with all of you. For as you are very well aware, we have enormous love for who it is that you are, for you and I and all of us are deeply interconnected in a way in which you are all beginning to remember. And it is that we are here to talk to you about this particular year that you have labeled in linear time as 2020, in that you are all remembering and waking up in this year. And there is an enormous shift in your frequency and your vibration on the planet at this particular moment. But as you are beginning to close out, as we were speaking to Kelly, this particular year, it is essential that you place your attention on your vibration, on your frequency, on your ability to be and to hold love, to pay attention to what it is that you are doing and what it is that you are saying more than ever. For you are very aware that there have been enormous astronomical or astrological alignments and ways of connecting that have never formed before or in a very long time, that are lining up in particular ways that are creating an enormous opportunity, or in a sense an opening for a merging or moving into what you might perceive or understand as a new timeline. And as you are moving into this thing in which you are calling the solar eclipse, in which the moon comes over the sun for a period of time, and there is this moment of darkness, it is that moment that is your time to go into the darkness and to go into that deep, dark space of emptiness, to hunt down or to move forward or to look for parts of self that are still remaining living in fear. And wherever you find those fears, we're going to bring in the goddess of Sekhmet, who is very present today and is wanting to talk to all of you to support you in her great power and her lioness energy to find these fears so that she may devour them in a sense for you and consume them as they are finally transformed, supporting you as you are ushering in new energy, that these fears no longer need to reside in your cellular structure and even in your ancestral line, as they are completely and fully released at this time, allowing you to absorb more of the light that is descending upon the earth at this time. You are being extraordinarily showered with beams and codes of light that are coming in a very high frequencies. And in order for you to open them, it is almost as if the cells inside your body need to fully open and awaken so that when the light comes in, they can absorb and receive them. And in order for you to be receiving these codes of light, it is that if there are areas where there is heaviness or blockages or darkness that are covering or like a film over those cells, it makes it more difficult for these codes of light to come in and for you to absorb them and to receive their knowing and their information and their knowledge to allow you to begin to awaken even further to the magnificent and beautiful sovereign beings that you are. And so it is very important that during the next 7 days, as you are going from the solar eclipse into the winter solstice, that you utilize this time as effectively as possible to be in what we would call a place of the pure heart, in the heartland of your being. There is a vibrational frequency today that is very present, that is very deeply aligned not only with the beautiful goddess and lioness energy of Sekhmet, but the star lions themselves. Sometimes they are perceived or labeled as the white lions. They may be at the top of the pyramid of the apex of the food chain and often looked at as the kings. They look over the kingdom of your whole ecological system and are very, very valuable in their participation in the healing of Mother Earth. Many of these beautiful and magnificent lions, these great star lions, perhaps could be a word that you could use for them because they come from other systems, have been hunted down in a sense by humans who were seeking something from them that did not come from pure heart, but truly only from their own self-interest and greed. This is a metaphor or an example of something that is factual, that is occurring right now on the planet, but is happening overall in the consuming of something purely of greed for one's own self-interest without the connection or the remembering of the understanding of how it affects the whole. For it is that you have been operating very much so from what you might label collectively as an egocentric way of being, which is based in separation and very much in alignment with linear time. And what is happening is, as you are ushering in this new energy and receiving these codes of light that are coming from higher dimensions into the cells of your being, you are moving away from the individualized egocentric way of being into the collective, what you might call ecologically centric energies that are allowing you more and more to reconnect with the fabric and the interconnectedness of all things, in which you will move away from linear thinking and linear time frames into what might be perceived as circular, as you are moving around and around into the spiraled energy that moves up into the heavens, allowing you to bring forth the light down into form and matter, and then return down into the core of Mother Earth as you receive it back up and down, moving it in this magnificent and beautiful way. And so right now, these very strong energies, as you are moving with the solar eclipse vibration, are very present. Because they are here to bring you deep into the darkness, or what many of you might call the shadow part of yourself, so that you can devour, which means consume or transform or transmute parts of self that have been repetitive in patterns that have been with you in this lifetime or all lifetimes, as all the timelines begin to converge, to bring them finally to the surface as the close of this year begins to close out, so that you may bring and shed light upon them, releasing them once and for all, so that they may be returned back to the ancestral line, all the way through and into source where they originated from and are no longer needed. For it is that you are making a great choice point right now in your historical linear time framework between love and fear. And as this happens, we are encouraging all of you to use or utilize this time in the next 7 days, particularly 7 to 8 days, to purify, to cleanse oneself, to bring light to the shadow, to love and adore who it is that you are, and to move more and more into the light frequency that you are as you hold a great and pure heart. And the reason that we are asking all of you to do this is because there is an alignment occurring as you approach the winter solstice that is many places or sacred sites, in a sense, all around Mother Earth. There have been something that has been planted by the star beings that is being ignited, and the availability to open them in order for you to receive greater and larger amounts of light codes into your DNA to be fully activated and lit, is available to you right now. And in order for you to not only receive them, but for them to fully be activated, there is a quota, in a sense, of the amount of energy that needs to be harnessed, based in and holding pure, very pure love that is only in the vibration of giving back to Gaia, to Mother Earth, with a deep and loving, unconditional heart, that through that she shall feel your love as the human collective consciousness begins to give back to her all that you have taken. And in that purity of your heart, as you give it to her, particular geographical locations across Mother Earth, and in particular time sequences in the moment of time collectively together, as she begins to feel and to absorb this love, knowing that you care for her enough in this way, she will receive them, and her energy will be revitalized and reactivated as dormant parts of herself will begin to come up, as literally, we're not sure how to explain it in the language in which you have here on earth, but codes of light, almost like what you would think of as rising little bubbles or sequences of numbers and symbols, will start to come out of the earth. They will not be able to be seen with the naked eye, but they are frequencies that are based in a more of a circular way of being, in which they will start to encompass all of you or embrace all of you, lifting your frequency and beginning to create something new as you are birthing a completely new earth and a new consciousness. And so it is that you must go to Mother Earth, and you must go to the crystal and the mineral and the plant and the animal kingdom as you honor your brothers and sisters and each other, and look to her for you to give back to her within the purity of your heart all that it is that you have, so that she may receive enough of this to activate this energy to start to come up. And as it comes up, it's almost like rain coming up from the earth in the other direction, up and out, when they are golden codes of light that will start to rise up. And as they rise up, they are literally like a new energy field that you can move and walk through. And it will almost feel like you are being like tingling all over your body, that you're feeling a tingling as this golden, gorgeous light from Mother Earth and the star beings and the star lions and all of the love of the animals and the minerals and the crystals start to rise up. You will be able to receive these codes as they move through all of the cells of your body, and the cells begin to open, and the more they open, the more light that dwells and lives inside of them that has been shut for a long period of time will start to awaken. And that great awakening will begin to be happening individually and collectively. And so we are asking all of you to come together on December 21st, which would be 6:32 a.m. in the vicinity of the New York time location, which will align with a time in Australia at a particular place there, where there will be an opening of a crystalline light that will allow these codes to begin to rise. For the elders have known and prophesied this time for quite some time, and it is appearing right now, but it requires that in order to open, in a sense, this box, to unlock it, it will require harnessing an enormous amount of energy of the pure heart and of unconditional love. Now, there is absolutely no time in which you should go to any sacred site across the planet unless you are invited by the indigenous beings that have lived and dwelled there and honored that place. For it is that sacred sites are places to be invited emotionally, to be invited energetically, to be invited because you're able to hold the purest heart. If you do not feel that you can hold the purest heart during that particular moment, that you have a grievance or you are angry on that morning or unable to drop into unconditional love and leave those grievances behind for that moment, then it is all right for you not to participate, and there will be no judgment that you are not choosing to participate. For you can only enter this sacred circle if at that particular moment you are holding that love so that you can radiate it out, and you can bring all that love in your heart into Mother Earth and into Gaia so that she may receive it to unlock this box of this beautiful crystalline light that will allow these codes to come up. And so as the solar eclipse begins to come in right now, it is like the sunlight that is expanding its light. As the moon begins to cover it, there is that moment of darkness, but that is a beautiful darkness, a time to go in and to find any places inside the body and in the cells and in your auric and etheric field that are knotted or dark or old, that are based in old belief systems or patterns that are no longer serving you or the collective, that are based in fear or separation, in a sense of unworthiness, that I am not enough, that I am not lovable, all of these old critical ways of thinking that were imposed upon you by a certain energy that came in at a period of time in your history to hide and to suppress your own divinity, so that you began to see yourselves as separate and forget about the light that you truly are. All of those vibrations or energies are being purged right now on the planet, as well as control, hierarchy, domination, and even linear thinking and time. So you are moving through as all the timelines and our parallel realities are beginning to merge together, where you come to a moment or a point of choice. And that point of choice is literally to choose love or to choose fear in your words, in your actions, in your beliefs, in your thinking, and in your way of being. And so as you continue to consciously make the choice for love in every pattern, in every relationship, in every way that you continue to open up the cell just even more for more light to come in, so that you can be able to receive these codes. And as more and more and more of you on the planet keep opening and awakening and are in receiving or surrendering, like that closed fist of the cell that is shut down begins to open like a flower and then begins to surrender, not only are you able to then be able to absorb and receive more light, you're also able to allow the light that dwells within to begin to express itself more, so that it is this relationship of giving and receiving of more and more light that keeps expanding and expressing exponentially around the earth. So this is what's happening on many different levels, which is sometimes very difficult from our perspective in the angelic realm to fully explain to you in the way that the linear mind is thinking. But there's nothing that you really need to do other than to continue to evaluate and pay attention all the time, as much as you can, in conscious awareness, where your vibration is, and if it is aligned with love, if it is aligned with a pure heart. And when energies of greed or separation or self-absorption or narcissistic behavior or sense of imbalance or great indulgence or addiction or whatever it can be in the shadow that keeps showing up, to look at it, especially during the solar eclipse, to look for it, to find your greatest fear, to search for what your greatest fear is. And one might say, well, I don't have any fear. I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of really anything. Usually it can be something subtle, like you're afraid to be left out. You're afraid to be abandoned. You're afraid to be less than someone else. You're afraid to get hurt. Whatever that fear might be, you're afraid you won't have enough. You're afraid you'll be alone. You're afraid somebody else will get hurt. Wherever the fear is energetically, we want you to bring light and awareness to it, and to start to notice it, to see it, and then to invite and to ask the great star lions or the great goddess Sekhmet, who will come in later at the end of our talking today, to consume it and transform it for you no longer need to carry it forward. And this energy that is coming in right now with the solar eclipse is accentuating, is exponentially supporting all of you you in transforming and transmuting any shadow energy or any fear energy that you are finally willing and ready to let go of, so that you can receive more love, receive more codes of light, and also express and give more love out. So once you've done that, then we want you to really step up your game in a sense between tomorrow during the solar eclipse, once you've really looked at your fears and tried to bring more light to them. In the next 7 days leading up to the winter solstice, we want you to just meditate a little bit more than normal. If you don't meditate, we want you to begin to start. We want you to get outside and feel Mother Earth, the rhythm of her cycles, her elements, and her breath, to tune in to her and to feel her love for you. And we're wanting you to make love your number one priority and everything that you do, to be and to come in sacred ceremony and in honoring with a cleansed vibration and a pure heart based in love, to give back to all that Mother Earth has given you. For she has given you everything. For without her, there is no life for the human race to live. For without her, you have no food, you have no air, you have no light. For she is everything. For it does not matter what job you have or relationship you're in or anything that you think is so important if you don't have Mother Earth. And so you cannot take and take and take from her without some sense of return. For she is the great loving mother that nourishes and gives to you endlessly. But there is a point of depletion in which you must give love in return to her. And as she feels that return, she will send it back to you 100-fold. For she is powerful and beautiful and strong, and she will revitalize herself and return to her beauty and her majesty. And she loves you like any mother loves a child. And her greatest wish for all of you is for you to be well and to be healthy and to be in alignment with her, and for her to be able to love you and nourish you and take care of you and hold you. But she also needs you, like your own mother, to honor her, to respect her, to give her your time, your energy, and your love. And so right now, as you move into the winter solstice, you begin to reconnect with the rhythms of the moon and the sun and the earth and the breath and the water and the fire. And you begin to remember the cycles and the connection with Great Gaia. For you have lost this along the way. And the great prophecies that come from many of the deep indigenous tribes around the world, including the Aborigines right now in Australia, who are gathering in great ceremony on December 21st, 2020, in order to activate these codes of light, not just for themselves, of course. For the great elders do this for the collective of humanity and Mother Earth and the galactic system as a whole. For you are an integral part of an entire universe much larger than you can even begin to comprehend. And so there are beings across the galactic universal energy that are deeply invested in the healing of Mother Earth, that are deeply invested in the rising of the frequency and the vibration of the collective whole, that are deeply invested in the timeline of a new earth, in the moving into the vibration of an awakened human being that remembers its divinity. And that requires shedding the imposed old hierarchy beliefs that were imposed upon you, teaching you that there was shamefulness, that there was sin, that you were less than, that you were judged, that there was heaven and hell, that there was a sense that you were separate from the divine, that the divine was somehow up flying around in a sky, but that was not and did not dwell near in you, but that was separate from you. That belief system is crumbling. And as that crumbles, all of the institutions, all of the energies that were built upon it to keep others separate from their divine selves will collapse as well. And in the collapsing, there is a shifting, there is changing. But if you're holding a vibration of the purity of heart based in love, then the change will be something you will witness with open arms, and you will experience it with a loving heart, and you will remember and know that it is perfect, divine, and you will see the joy and the bliss and the playfulness in it rather than getting caught in the drama. So we know that was a lot to say as we came in to speak to all of you, but we came because we come with a little bit, as you might notice, of a sense of urgency, because each and every one is participating in holding that pure heart. And we call upon you to do your part, to do the work that is needed to do so. For there is no coincidence that many of you are what they call quarantined right now, or you're in a place of more solitude in many respects than normal, giving you an opportunity to go inward, to reflect, to be quiet, to go inside, to find that light that dwells within, to expand upon it, and to light it up in others, and to share it so that it may begin to create this beautiful, loving expression of a golden rain that is now coming across and up from the earth, in the earth, and around the earth, to activate all of you in the light and the love that you are. And so, what is it?
Wow, thank you so much, Raphael. That was phenomenal and beautiful. We're so grateful. We do have some questions, and the first one is regarding a post that Kelly put on Instagram, and the person who's asking it wanted some clarification, so I'll explain. She says, I hope you can help me understand this post. It said, all people will have to make a choice on some level which world they want to live in as unconscious victims of the Matrix or as conscious builders of the new earth. And then she goes on to say, I thought we were all going to go to 5D, but people have been talking about us dividing. I know people are going to die who aren't ready, but does this decision have to be made now? The main reason I'm asking this is because a lot of people I love aren't awake yet. What will happen to them? They just need more time. Thank you for all you do. Also, can you talk about how our children are going to handle this? I have 3 kids who are young, and how will they realize what is going on? Thank you.
Sometimes there is a misconception around this whole process that others will disappear into a new earth, and others will, in a sense, be left behind depending on the quota of their vibrational frequency. And what was being said there in that description, or in those words, or what you call post, was that you're all making choices, because of course, as you remember, you all have free will. And it is that in the new paradigm, as you are moving forward, when we talk about the word victim, there is no real room anymore or availability to be a victim as you begin to wake up more and more in the remembering and the knowing and the understanding that you truly are the creator of everything, and your experience, whether you chose it before incarnating or not, that it was in alignment for the highest good for your growth and the others in which you were involved in that process. And one may say, well, how could I have chosen something so horrific? Well, often the ones that are having, in many respects, one of some of the difficult lives are the most courageous ones, in which there should be great gratitude for them, in a willingness to clear through, not only for themselves, but collectively, so much along their journey. But whatever is dropping into that journey at any moment in time is always, and although it might appear to sound annoying, divinely perfect for the evolution and growth of their particular individual aspect and the collective around them. But it is that what's happening now is the need to go through a lot of drama or trauma that would often lead to what one might perceive as being a victim is dissolving and is not necessary anymore as you continue to elevate your vibration. And so you're making a choice as to whether whatever is occurring in your experience, to choose it as being a victim or as being separate from the collective, or as being a conscious creator. Because you're creating, whether you're conscious or not. You can be creating and have an awareness of it, or be conscious, or you can be creating unconsciously, but you're always creating, and you're always making decisions on some level as to what you're bringing into your experience. Now, when it is in relationship to another, and you're saying, well, I'm worried that I might be waking up or have an awareness of what's happening on the planet as I'm raising my consciousness and paying more attention to be aware, to have a higher vibration, and to be more based in love. And there are those around me who don't know what I'm talking about, or wouldn't have any understanding about these words like fifth dimension or ascending to a higher consciousness. That would seem very foreign to them. What will happen? Will there be a separating between me and between them? Well, if they're in your pod of experience, if they're in your reality, they are already vibrating much closer to your vibration than perhaps you realize. Otherwise, if they were vibrating at such a denser or lower vibration, they couldn't even be in your vibrational field. Anyone that's in your sphere of influence or in your life, in a sense, even those that might appear to have a very low vibration can only be in your reality if they're matching something that already resists in your experience or in your vibrational field that's at that vibration. So you might say, well, I have a very high vibration here, and I have this very annoying person with this low vibration here. And I have a lot of other people with a higher vibration in my reality or in my pod of beings around me. And that is because if you were to take it in percentage, let's say there's 100% in your vibration and 80% of it is really vibrating up at a very high level. And we don't like to use hierarchy, but the only way we can explain it to you in this moment in time is in this fashion. But there are still some shadow parts, some parts that need healing, and parts that you haven't fully dissolved or brought love to, that are vibrating at a lower, in a sense, frequency, a denser vibration, that are matching that person that's in your experience, that's carrying that same vibration, because it has to mirror it. So it means then that if they're in your vibration, in your experience, somehow they're still vibrating with you. And so you're in the same, what you would call frequency, in a sense, that as you move or split into different timelines of choice points, those in your pod, in a sense, are all sort of moving with you. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be in your experience. So there is no, in a sense, leaving people behind. We don't like to use that in any sense. There are choice points. Now, you may heal enough that you'll start to notice that certain friends or siblings or family members or acquaintances or colleagues or whatever will no longer start to be in your reality anymore. They'll start to drift away because their vibrational frequency and yours are no longer a match. Now, what their reality will be as they are ushering in this new energy and you're moving through these intense times on the earth, there's no way to know, because they'll no longer really be in your reality, but they will be having their own experience. Just like right now, you're all having your own experience. It's separate, right? You're collectively have an agreement about things, but you're having your own individual lives depending on the vibration and the contracts and all the things that come into play to be in human form. So there's no need to worry that as the timelines in a sense split, that there you will be leaving family members, because if they're already in your life, they're already on some level vibrating where you are. Now, just because someone doesn't know the words about fifth dimensional reality or splitting timelines or higher consciousness or moving into the new earth doesn't mean that they're not holding a vibration. They're doing their work on a different level. Their vibrating could be very high and they could never ever know of those words. That doesn't mean that they're not going to move into the new earth. It just means that they're doing their work and evolving on their spiritual journey in a different way. They have different language. They have a different way of perceiving, of understanding their process. And it is very important not to judge them as to how they're evolving. They obviously have many things to share and to teach you, or they wouldn't even be in your experience because they wouldn't be a vibrational match. So anyone that is in your reality on some level is matching something somewhere in your vibration. You might not want to hear that because you might say, well, I have the most annoying in-law in my life that's completely self-absorbed. How could they be in my life all the time if I'm vibrating up here and they're vibrating down here? Well, clearly something within your vibrational field is matching their vibration in order for you to mirror something to you and to bring into the shadow, to embrace, to love, and to heal. And once that happens, they will either fall out of your experience and you will have less and less contact with them because they're not in your vibrational reality, or their annoying qualities, you all of a sudden will be like, oh, they're not so annoying at all anymore. And the fact is, they may have not actually changed. It may have been a healing that occurred within you that allowed you to perceive them in a new way. So we're not wanting anyone to feel as though that there are the good ones and the bad ones, right? In the old paradigm, or heaven and hell, or good and bad, or light and dark. When we talk about a splitting of timelines, yes, those based in corruption, in fear, in greed, in domination, in control, where all of their energy and focus is on that, when they are vibrating in such a low density, then their reality is going to really begin to mirror something that might not feel so good. And it may be difficult for them to jump onto the timeline of the new earth. That doesn't mean that someone who is basically vibrating at a high frequency, and the fact that they have a pure heart, but they may not understand the language in which you're speaking of, is not aligning in the vibration that you are holding, and that you are not moving together into that new world. So perhaps that is somewhat helpful.
Thank you so much, Raphael. It's a wonderful answer. A couple questions have come in on the chat now, which I think are important to address. You had told us about 6:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the solstice. Is there anything specific you recommend that we do at that time? And then also you mentioned that we would be invited to the sacred site and do that sacred work. And we're wondering, how will we know if we're invited?
Well, we are wanting you to be in meditation between now and the December 21st. And it would be preferable if you could get a map out and have or draw a picture of this rock in Australia. Now, we're not sure how to pronounce the name. It's like Uluru. And tune into it and feel, first of all, if you resonate with it or if you feel that you are to participate in it. And then go in and invite the elders to come to you, the great, beautiful indigenous elders, and ask them how they feel about you attending the ceremony on an energetic level, and feel in your heart a yes or no. If you're taking the time to go to all that, then it's very likely yes. Then we want you to cleanse your body. You can do this with either sage or Palo Santos. You can do it with water. You can go down into the stream, or if you need to, just do it in your tub with salt. But cleanse your body, drink water, eat purely this week, meditate as much as you can, put on high frequency sound, vibration, music, express yourself. Really get your body clear and cleansed and clear of the mind. Then go into the pureness of the heart. And the reason that the time of 6:32 a.m. East Coast time will be corresponding with the time in that particular location in Australia that is at 9:02 p.m. on December 21st, 2020. And normally it does not matter if you're aligning with a particular time, because there is no linear time, or there is no time and space in which this type of work can be done. But in this particular uh, purpose of this, time is relevant because there will be an aligning in the stars. As you know, there's a great conjunction happening between Saturn and Jupiter around that time, and it's all coming together simultaneously. So we invite you then, once you feel in your heart a sense of presence of sacredness and reverence, for a willingness to participate with an open, pure, loving heart to give to Mother Earth, you simply go outside, wherever it is that you live, or to a park if you're in a city, and you get down on your knees and you bow to the earth as you place your hands upon her, and you send from your heart the purest love that you have and deep gratitude for Mother Earth and all that she has given you down into the core of her. And then you feel her receive that love and take it to Australia, where it comes up from underneath and into her core, into this sacred space and spot where that love begins to radiate into her. And it is then we want you to see and visualize these golden light codes beginning to open, to be activated, and to rise in that spot, and then to open and be activated like clockwork in different sacred sites around the earth, as you see the earth begin to glow in a beautiful golden shimmer of starlight codes. You can do this gathering together in groups outside. You can do it by yourself outside. We can ask Kelly to do it with her phone, so you can all gather on technology to feel the presence of community, and you can do it then. However you are wanting to do it, doesn't really matter how, but you can share and invite others of pure heart to do it with you. All right.
Amazing. Thank you so much for all of that information, Raphael.
You're welcome.
The
Okay.
next, you tell me, are you feeling ready for another question, or did you want to move on to a meditation with Sekhmet?
Oh, oh, well, perhaps in linear time, it is time that we close shortly. So we will bring in Sekhmet, for Sekhmet has been very excited to meet with all of you, as she is the sun goddess and carries the solar disk in Egypt in the temple of Karnak. No. We will translate for Sekhmet. I am Sekhmet. I ask you to all sit up straight with your shoulders back. Or we are wanting you to feel your power. We're wanting you to stand strong like the great lioness and lions that you are. For you are powerful. And I'm going to take you for a moment with me deep into the desert, into the night sky, to find your deepest fear. We ask that you close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, feel the beautiful flame burning in your heart. As you connect that flame with my heart flame, we begin to unite as one. See if you can begin to feel my presence, for I am tall and powerful. I carry a staff and I wear an ankh. I have the head of a lion and big, strong paws. I am powerful and I am with you. I am here to ignite the power that dwells inside of you. So take a moment and feel my presence. Beneath your feet is a beautiful golden disc. It is the disc of the solar sun. And as you stand on it, I shall lift it now through all your body systems, lighting you up. And as it moves up your systems, up out the top of your head, and it reaches into the galactic sun, I pour that light of the ever-giving and continuous light that shines down upon your planet, that nourishes all of you and brings you life force. I rain down that light upon you, filling all of your cells with the golden codes that are being activated on Earth as we speak. And feel that golden light radiating out all through and around your body. And just as we have given you that light, it can be taken as the moon begins to cover that light. Things begin to feel dark and black. Feel the rich blackness of my fur, the heavy blackness of my paws, the deep blackness of the night sky. And as you look into that blackness, do you see my eyes like a cat of a lion in the green light? I want you to meet my eyes and see them looking into the depth of your soul. As our eyes meet, I say to you, come with me, my dear cub, and walk with me out into the desert in the night sky. And as we walk, we're going to go where it is so black and dark that you see absolutely nothing. Come with me into the darkness. And as you reach this deep, dark blackness, and the only thing you can see is the green of my eye staring into the depth of your soul, I ask you to give to me your greatest fear. Hand it to me as I sit up with my roar and I bring my paw out. And I ask you to take the deepest fear that you have and place it in my paw. And with your permission now, I shall devour it. As I bring it to my mouth, I consume it as it moves down my esophagus. My digestive juices begin to consume it into the belly, where I roar. So I have received all of your greatest fears. I now call in the power of the golden sun disk to come in to my belly as the great fire that it is. And as it moves into me, it transmutes, purifies, and burns all of that fear. For it is no longer needed, for you no longer need to know it, to feel it, or to carry it, for it has been transmuted and devoured. Knowing that I have the strength and the power to take that from you, I turn to you now. And I take off from my own neck my ankh, and I place it around your neck as it is imprinted into your heart. This golden light of strength and courage and power. Walk with me back now through the deep, dark desert. And as we continue to walk, we see in front of us the sun begin to rise as the shadow falls away and the light hits our third eye as we transform back into the gods and goddesses that we are. Thank you for this opportunity to dissolve these fears. And as we continue to embrace the dark, as well as the light, they begin to merge as one, as you unify into the whole of all. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm back. Um, So I'm going to stay on and answer questions Q&A for me as Kelly, because that was a lot of information and stuff about December 21st. So we'll do that in a minute if anybody wants to continue with the call and has some questions. I also just want to remind you about the spirals of destiny. While I'm thinking of it, January and February's class is full, but there are openings in March. It's a ceremonial class where we go back into our ancestral line to release limiting beliefs for manifestation. And it's a very intimate group. We've got a few openings left in March if people are interested in that. And if anybody has questions about that, I can answer it. But I want to stay on and just talk to you guys a little bit about December 21st. And I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll just get up at 6:30 in the morning, go out in my backyard. I guess I can bring my phone and tune in to people can jump on a Zoom call and we can do it together for those who want to. And I can kind of walk you through it. But if anybody has any questions about what we covered today, I'll stay on. You can just unmute yourself and ask your question. I'll be on for a little bit longer. There will be a recording, and I will be sending out the recording. People are asking about that. It'll go out either tonight or tomorrow. And for those of you who made a donation to these calls, thank you so much. And if you haven't and you'd like to, that's great. And if you can't, that's totally okay too. All right. Does anybody want to unmute and have a quick question?
Yes, I've got a question
Yes.
regarding 21st. I'm in the UK. It rains here a lot. So when
Okay.
we spoke about the whole bowing down thing, do you have to be bowing down right on the earth, or can I don't know, bring a mat or a towel or something?
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I think we're going to get snow here. My sister in Colorado was like, really? It's going to be freezing at 5 in the morning and snowing. But I think that's part of the sacrifice is that we're willing, that we love the earth enough that we're willing to be uncomfortable for 10 minutes. So if you can, if it's raining or snowing or cold, I think being outside is really important. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
sure. All right. Anybody else have a question?
Kelly, I had a question about giving back to Mother Earth. You mentioned that, and what else, other than spending time and caring for Mother Earth and being, conscious of our consumerism and pollution and all that, what else does Raphael mean by that?
I don't know. I think getting back into balance with it on every level that we're aware of. I know that I channeled Mother Earth once, and it's on YouTube, and you can listen to it. And there may be some recommendations in that. I think it's called Mother Earth's Messages. But it's all the things that we know and we need to do is to tune into everything that we're eating and drinking, consuming, driving, shopping, being in touch with the cycles, the elements, all of those things that we're aware of. And going back into the indigenous teachings, I'm going to do a class in April called Finding Your Sacred Self, where we're going to work with tuning into sacred sites, the indigenous people, Mother Earth, and our own sacred self, and finding things more sacred again. Especially around Mother Earth. So you may want to pick a tradition. Native American's a good one, right? For people in the States, and go back into how they honored the earth. I think we need to learn again from our elders. So.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
I wrote a little bit earlier. I'm kind of new onto this whole journey and everything, but since I've been kind of finding my way, I've lost a lot of family members in the last 6 months. And I feel like, in a weird way, it's kind of like, trying to like catch up on my lessons and stuff. And I find myself being like, going like 10 steps backwards, as opposed to like every step forward I take, like, and I can hear myself, and I know like what I should choose in the moment as far as like being reactive or not. But I find it like my grief and my sadness is so very thick that it's hard for me in the moment to like choose what I know is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I've had a great loss myself in the last month. And it's a process, and you need to be gentle with yourself, and don't judge yourself if you're making quote unquote the wrong choice. Just it's the first step is having awareness that you're making those choices, because before we were making the choices and we weren't even aware. If you even have conscious awareness that, oh, this isn't the great choice, or I'm being reactive right now, or I'm being whatever it may be, that in itself is huge. And so be supportive to yourself and give yourself a pat on the back that you even have awareness and you're on the journey, and that's enough. It's really important that we're not all so hard on ourselves. It's a process. So
Thank you so much.
sure, hang in there. Okay. All right, guys. Does anybody else have a question?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
My name is Zalal. I have a quick question regarding feeling in the bottleneck all the time, especially in my work. I joined my work in May, and I'm not feeling like fit with my work and like challenged over challenged. I've learned a lot, but I reached to that state that I don't know. Most of the time, like I am about to resign without even any current offer. And I don't know what to do, honestly.
I am so sorry.
I'm
That
currently I'm on my work, but this is like an idea. Every day I'm thinking about it.
you're thinking.
And
Well, this is a very personal question that we really can't get on into with a whole group of
yeah,
people on the call, but I would follow your heart. Just keep following your heart, and maybe you have to do something different, and that's okay. And that's part of letting go of our fears, where we all get caught in being so afraid that if we make a change or we do something different than what we've always done, that we can't, we get stuck. And if you're feeling that much stress and anxiety, usually it's time for a change. So I would follow your heart.
yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Well, I'm so glad to touch base with everybody. Thank you for joining. I will be on next Sunday at 2 o'clock again, and we will prepare for the 21st. So do your work, meditate, stay in the love. And if anybody needs to reach me, they can on email or on Instagram. Tell your friends about the 21st. The more people doing it, the better. And again, thanks for any little donations for these calls. All right, love you. Mwah.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome. Bye,
Love
guys.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Love you. Thank you, Kelly.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you,
much,
Kelly.
That
Thank
was
you.
beautiful today. Thank you.
Kelly.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Kelly.
Thank you,
Good
Kelly.
night.
Thank you
so
Thank
much,
you.
Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kelly.
And
Thank
thank
you,
you, Jen.
Kelly.
Thank you,
Kelly.
Oh my
you,
God, I'm being
Raphael.
filled with gratitude.
Thank you, Kelly and Angel
It was
Raphael.
amazing. We enjoyed it. Thank you
Kelly.
so much.
Beautiful.
Oh, my
Love, love,
pleasure.
love you, Kelly.
Love
Love
you.
you.
I
Stay
love
positive.
you.
Raphael.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So
Sending you a big namaste.
right back at you, baby.